Hey tubers, how you doing today? Well, we're back on our Ventura guitar. We pinned and glued the headstock that had snapped, and I'm going to show you what it looks like unclamped. I did make a mistake when I did it. I forgot to put wax paper between the padded clamps, so I left some cork on the instrument and tore the cork off the clamps, which it does happen. So let me show you here how it looks now that it's glued, just raw. There's been no scraping done on it or anything like that. So here we go. Alright, this is our Ventura. And come up here. There you can see the pin. Oh, there we go. There you can see the pin. And all the broken laminate that is on the headstock. Okay, and this is where the nut was. Whoops, sorry. This is where the nut was, and it was glued on way too much. When you glue on a nut, you want to put a drop of super glue here and here. That's all. Just a quarter of the way in from each side. Just a tiny little drop of super glue. That nut, when the strings are on, it's not going to go anywhere. So, I have to cut off the pin and shave her flat. Now you can see this was a bad break. This was, here, let me back up a little bit. This was a bad break. But I made the crack disappear here, and then I made the crack pretty much disappear, not completely, but on the side right there, you can see where the laminate's pulled up, and I tried to clamp that a little bit. And then right there, we came close to making it disappear. That's basically dirt you see there. We got this binding here to sit in real nice. The other one stuck out a little bit. So right there, that binding's nice and tight. You can see the crack. And then this is some dirt in the glue right here. And then we look at the back side. Okay, this is cork stuck to the guitar, and there was a little piece of cork stuck right there. This is dirt that was already on the guitar that needs cleaned off. As you can see, it just like right with my fingernail, it's coming right off. And so I'll get the cork off. And then this right here was the worst part of the break of separation. So what you're seeing in there, that white in there, that is the sumo glue right along here. Now we use the sumo glue because it is a permanent bond. Hide glue, humidity will make it break. I love hide glue. Please don't get me wrong, I love hide glue. But with this repair, it needed the sumo glue. It will hold. This guitar, once she's put back together, as long as she doesn't take another hit, it'll last 50 years or more. And we will do everything in our power to make this, to hide this as much as possible. In this area here, where all this laminate broke off, I'm going to square these edges up. These ones right here. And we're going to graft in a piece of walnut. And I don't know what kind of finish we're going to do yet, but we're going to do some kind of finish. And I'm going to chip out the last of this bridge where, like, you can see, man, there is, where's it at? Back up, back up, back up, back up. There it is. There is a ton of glue right in this area. They really glued this nut down. That's crazy. You need 2 drops of super glue. One here and one here when you put your nut on, and that is all. You need to hold it into place because a lot of times the nut has to be removed. Alright, I'm going to cut this pin off, and then I'm going to carve it. I'm going to try and keep my fat fingers out of the way. I'm going to take let me back this off. I'm going to take a piercing saw. Some of you call this a coping saw, but this is actually a jeweler's piercing saw. And I'm going to cut that off as close as I can without damaging anything else, because then I'm going to use my knife and cut her clear. A couple finish marks there, but that's okay. So this guitar, she's tore up. So now I'm going to use my knife, and I believe I'm going to be using a left-handed Japanese knife. Okay, this is what is called a left cut or left-handed Japanese Damascus steel carving knife. And I'm going to come in here and start whittling this down. And I'm going to work her flush. Now, a lot of people don't understand the pressure that are on these knives when you're cutting this wood, especially hardwoods like this. This is a birch plug, and a birch is a pretty hard wood. Now, I use the left hand for most of my cuts. I'm fairly adept at working it either way, to where Joe uses the right hand for most of his cuts. And now you're supposed to use the knife for the one cut or the other. You're not supposed to use it for both cuts. But I just seem to do better with the knife, with the left-handed knife, than I do the right. And I'm able to reverse it. As you see, it is only sharpened on the one side. So the bevel is supposed to be to the wood, but I use it both ways, which Joe yells at me every time I do. And he's right. He is right. But everyone, you know, we've all got our idiosyncrasies, and I am equally adept at using this knife both directions. It does cut better, bevel down. But as you see here, bevel up, I actually have a little bit better control, even though I'm not technically supposed to. And then now that I'm down to cutting flush, I'll go bevel down. And like I said, this is the proper way to use the knife. The way I was using it before is backwards. Just so you know, for those of you who do know, so I don't get replies on comments, you're using that knife backwards. And for those of you who don't know, when I have the bevel up, I am using it backwards.
Make sure that they know it's a Japanese single bevel.
Yes, that's exactly what I told them. This is a Japanese Damascus steel single bevel knife. One is for a left-hand cut, and one is for a right-hand cut. And as you can see, that beautiful Damascus purling in this blade. And it is only sharpened on one side. Most American carving knives are sharpened on both sides.
They're available from Japan Woodworker.
And they are available from Japan Woodworker.
Or is it Japanese Woodworker? I don't know. One of the two.
And there we go. We are flush cut. Almost perfectly. A little bit of scraping, and that'll be perfect.